Welcome back to the Impact Show. My name's Jeremy, and I'm your host, along with Maddie. Boy, we have got a treat for everybody today. I'm excited. Maddie, before we do that, last week, do you recall?
What was your takeaway, Jeremy?
I was going to ask you the same thing. Let's talk about delegating. I think that was the last one. Delegating, if you recall, I was doing a lot of it. Mm-hmm. And that's going to happen again tomorrow. So, big time news. Maddie comes to work for Impact full time tomorrow. So, I'm going to be doing some delegating. But anyway, we're going to get right on with the day. Today's conversation is special. Today, we sit down with someone who, similar to this podcast and Impact Service Group, has just completed his first year in a new leadership role. And so, our guest today is the one and only Tyler Hooks, the sheriff of Morgan County, Georgia. Over the past year, Tyler Hooks, yes, we can do a big round of applause, has stepped into a role as sheriff of our county. It's a role that demands integrity and leadership and all the things that we talk about on the show. And nobody knows this but me and Tyler right now, Sheriff Hooks. But I asked him to come on the show like a year ago, and he was like, man, I'm just getting this going, and so anyway, I'm thrilled that he's here. Sheriff Hooks has done a great job with our community in the sheriff's office and the deputies, and the whole community. He's really done a really nice job. So, but we're gonna have a conversation about law enforcement and about leadership, two of my very favorite things. And I think we're gonna get into some stuff that's probably people will know, and probably some things that people will learn about building trust and making decisions and all those things. So whether you're a leader in a small town or a growing organization, y'all remember that our podcast goes to our community, right? And everybody follows that there. And then they also, we have a lot of folks outside of our community that lean in and listen as well. So either way, you stand back and learn today. Sheriff Hooks, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremy. Thanks for having me. I know you did ask me to come last year, but I definitely think it's more impactful if I came now. Get that first year, and I was going to understand, what leadership's about.
That's good, man. Thank you so much for joining us, and I do look for it to be impactful. So, Sheriff, both of us stepped into new leadership roles about the same time with my new company, the podcast, and you coming and taking sheriff. You were in a leadership role before.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that at all today, or?
Sure. I started my supervision journey back around 2015. So I've been supervising for roughly 10 years now. In the last 4 years, around 2021, I was promoted to captain of a Metro Atlanta agency, and essentially had over 70 personnel and roughly $7-8 million budget that I was in charge of. So
that's a big department.
Yeah, it's much bigger, but it definitely prepared me for taking on this new role here.
Okay, so that's great. So now we're just behind. It's January the 4th. So we're right at a year. We're going to talk about that whole year here in just a minute. But basically, so the audience knows, Sheriff Hooks came to us a year ago and took over the office of sheriff for Morgan County. And today we've got some 1-year stats we can share and some unbelievable stuff that has taken place. But the first thing we want to do on the show is acknowledge that the year has been great. We want to talk about trust, accountability, and visible results, right? And so I can tell you that I've lived in Morgan County for 3 years now. And now, I'm probably a little bit partial because we're friends. Yeah. But the things that I've seen the office of the sheriff do since I've been here, you made some drastic change. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, we've made some pretty drastic change.
Okay. And so before we get into that, I do want to talk about just leadership in general, what it looks like boots on the ground. And so when you came into the office a year ago, you kind of walked into a tribe of people, right? All the people were here. They've been sheriff's deputies in this county for a long time, and you were coming in to lead them.
Yes.
How did they receive you initially?
They received me very well. They were very welcoming. It's surprisingly they all kind of wanted change. I had spoke to many of them when I was campaigning, so was able to develop relationships prior to actually taking office. And I've really tried to understand the needs that they wanted also while I was campaigning. So and then try to implement that into my my election.
Yeah, you came in humble and hungry and curious, right? I remember that because I remember helping you put up some signs and just talking to you through the campaign. And I remember saying to myself that you really needed to be here because of the leadership that you displayed early on. And I knew that would be received well, but there was a lot of Morgan County drama and gossip around that election cycle. And fortunately, it worked out. And we have what we have today. And so let's talk about that. But basically, from being elected, from campaigning to being elected, one thing I wanted to talk about too and highlight was when you were elected and it became real. How did that feel?
And I don't know if it's felt real yet. I wake up every day just with joy and it's been a road. But that first day, January 1st, it was very kind of surreal moment. That culminated. I mean, essentially, I wanted to be a police officer, so to speak, my entire life.
Yeah.
And then here you are at the pinnacle of policing, which is to be the actual sheriff,
right?
To represent the community, and every day sometimes I'm at disbelief that it's actually real.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so that was one of the things that, as a leader for me on my journey, when I opened my own business, and I realized like every day becomes more real that this is actually a thing. But I know that, dude, I almost felt it for you. Like, as I remember watching the video that we talked about earlier, when you came into that office at midnight, January 1st of 25, and I'm just assuming you're like, wow, this is now I'm walking into what I have to run.
Yeah.
I have to this is my office.
Right.
And embracing that.
So if anybody hasn't seen the video, we posted a video on our Facebook, and the deputies did it on their own. They put together where they wanted to line the sheriff's office with patrol vehicles and turn their lights on. And they were all standing there welcoming me and Chief Deputy Welch at the front door.
Wow.
With their family members. So it was very impactful.
Oh yeah.
I was very humbling experience.
Yeah.
And they did that on their own. Was what they wanted to do.
Wow. So. No, that's so bizarre. Like I said, I watched the video and I could feel the pride and that it's humbling.
Yeah.
But I could feel how proud you should be for that very moment. And then to think of the responsibility, because the first thing I go to as a leader is, oh man, the responsibility that he must have felt after that. And it is humbling.
Yeah.
But the responsibility is huge, right?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, it's they always say it's lonely at the top. There's no one else to go to. If something were to happen in that moment,
yeah,
I have to make the ultimate decision.
Yeah.
And you have to be prepared for that.
Right.
And you got to have the fortitude to make it happen.
Right. No, it's great. And hopefully we'll find some more about that today. What initially drew you to law enforcement?
So when I was a kid, my stepfather was in law enforcement, and he was a captain at a sheriff's office in Metro Atlanta. And I don't know, I was always looked up to him and kind of wanted to follow in that footsteps. He was my stepfather for my entire childhood. Mm-hmm. So from an early age, as far back as I can remember, I wanted to just work in this profession.
Yeah.
So, and now carried that through college and, on to where I am today.
I got you. And so, was there a moment? So let's just say you've been 20 years in. How many?
It'll be 2022 come February.
Cool. So cool, man. Was there a moment early in your career where you had someone mentor you into your leadership? And do you have a specific person that did that? Or persons, it could be plural.
I mean, I think I kind of took from everybody. There's obviously very few supervisors that really impact me that I looked up to on a day-to-day basis. But I mean, my career started in the jail and worked on the road, and then I was able to go into investigations and then go work at the Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA, for the federal government for 4 years, and come back to local. And then that's when I really started running, being a supervisor. So just being around so many different avenues and meeting so many different supervisors, I was able to, cherry pick some things from each and all of them. And the bad ones too. You always learn from failure. So I've had bad supervisors, but I'm a glass half full kind of guy, and very optimistic about a lot of things. So if I'm under a bad supervisor, I literally every day is like, okay, how do I not repeat that once I get to that level?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you've learned through all those years of experience what a good leader looked like, and then what a bad one would look like. So, let me ask you this: in your first 90 days, because we always want to talk about the first 90 days, but let's just walk me through. You came in the office, you sat down. This is my sheriff's office. This is my office. What was now you said in the campaign trail that the deputies were building a relationship with you along the way, which is good. But what was the first thing you said? I have to do this immediately.
So the first thing that the deputies all said, it was almost unanimous across the board, is that their computer systems, the software that they'd write the reports on, was inadequate. It would crash. It wouldn't save work. It would just delete items. It's very difficult to work with. So working in specifically this industry, but I think most industries are probably ring true. The software that companies usually use, those employees get accustomed to that software, and they don't want to change. They don't want to go to a different software or learn a new software, but they wanted to, and they wanted to bad. So I knew that what we needed to do and make it happen quickly is to try to find a software vendor that can kind of goes into our computer-aided dispatch to 911, but also be able to work in the jails and also have courts. So they're very limited when you talk about an all-in-one system to make it easier on the deputies. We were able to do that, and we were able to get the funding for it through the county commission, and we're in our implementation phase. So it's a 12-month process for the company to build the software and to implement it. And so we're right on track. We're actually ahead of schedule. So good. I think they told us we're on about a 9-month schedule, 9 to 10 months instead of a 12 to 14 months.
So you were able to tell the deputies, hey, look, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Just hang in there as we do this. What was the next thing?
So I was throwing a lot of curveballs and challenges my first, even 30 days. So especially as a leader, we had 2 ice storms, snowstorms, right in the middle of January 2025. And then our community was rocked to our knees with the loss of 2 13-year-olds. And it was a big challenge to try to, make sure our deputies understood what they needed to do in all of those incidences. So, we had to prepare for the storms, and then we had to prepare for the fallout and the aftermath of the tragedy that struck our community. And all this happened within the first 30 days.
Yeah, it did. I feel like thinking back, it did. You're right. Wow, that is a rough 30 days. Just the young kids that died in that accident. I didn't even think about that being your first 30 days. Wow, that's crazy. What about after that? You had a bunch of stuff coming at you, but what was needed to change next besides the computer system? What else have you changed big?
Well, so we've changed so much. So we've revamped our entire policy manual, our procedures, and hopefully, from my understanding, this week we will get the nod and become an accredited agency to where we've never been accredited before through the Georgia Sheriff's Association. And so that was a huge endeavor that essentially took us almost all year to do.
What does that mean? Explain that. Accredited.
So it essentially says that you have these standards, you have these procedures and policies in place that when something happens or your deputies know what to do, it helps lowers our insurance costs, but also it shows the community and it shows everyone else that, hey, you have standards here to work here and you're going to abide by it. And it's just, the whole.
So an accreditation is something that a Georgia county sheriff would seek to kind of raise the bar.
Yes, right.
Okay, cool. Interesting. And that's happening now.
That's happening right now. It's taking us all year. And we were told, I think last week, that we're in the final stages. So hopefully we'll hear something this next week that will actually be accredited for the first time ever, which is incredible. But we were able to do all kinds of things. We were able to get a competitive pay increase for our deputies. That also happened within the first 60 days.
Across the board?
Across the board. Which help us with our retention rates, and being able to hire high quality deputies.
Right.
We put a lot on police officers in this country. We give them a gun, we give them a badge to be able to take people's freedoms away, and they need to. You want the best for your community,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So they got to make those split second decisions. So we're competitive to our area now, and our retention rates are incredible. We're not losing people in the jail. We're not losing people on the road. We were full up until about 2 weeks ago. We had a guy that wanted to go to DNR, and it was his lifelong dream, and he finally got it. And obviously we helped him get there.
Absolutely.
We want people to grow. And another guy's moved down to Jones County, so he was a little bit too far. But outside of that, I mean, we're pretty much full. And
amen, dude, that's awesome. Well, and the things that you just described are people related. And so that reveals your heart, Sheriff, and that's what I like so much about you. Your ability to enforce laws is also strong.
Yeah.
And so we'll talk about that a little bit. But tell me about, and I'm really enjoying this, by the way. Tell me about something that may have been harder than you expected it to be.
I don't know. I mean, I could tell you being a sheriff, it's literally nonstop. So I don't know if it's necessarily harder, but Saturdays, Sundays, nights, weekends, holidays, it doesn't matter. People are texting, calling, messaging me on social media, or they need an answer, and that's what it should be, though.
Yeah.
And I should be available. So sometimes that gets hard to be attentive to everything.
Yeah.
And then try to remember everybody. Because when they meet you, they want you to know. They expect you to know who they are.
Yeah,
and you should.
Yeah,
right. And you shake their hand and look them in the eye, and that's pretty tough. But I try to do my best.
Yeah, no, you do well with it.
Yeah.
I think you do well with that. Okay, so what about decision making under pressure? Have you felt any pressure? I mean, obviously you feel pressure.
Yeah, there's
lots of pressure.
Yeah.
Right? What do you do when you have to make a decision under pressure?
Just go with my gut.
Okay.
I've always had to do that. You can't be indecisive in this business. You have to be decisive, and you got to take action, and it's immediate, and we have to get it right. And so I try to demand out of myself. The main expectation, so to speak, kind of goes into this, is what I tell every deputy that I swear in is be the best version of yourself every day, whatever that is, right? So you can't always give 120% of yourself every day. It's unrealistic, but you can give what you got. And I tell them, you owe it to yourself to do it. You owe it to your coworkers, and you obviously owe it to our citizens that we protect. So, this is where we go.
I love it. I love it. Oh, man. Sorry. So let's talk about responsibility. How many deputies total?
So there's 66 employees total, and that's, deputies, detention deputies, administrative staff.
Wow. So how many on the road?
So there's 36 on the street.
Okay.
And then 20, I think there's 25, 26 in the detention side, and there's 3 admin.
Okay. Sweet. So there's 30. So you're running 4 shifts.
4 shifts. We have 5 SROs now. As of we're actually start our 5th SRO. Really? Started in January at the alternative school. We have courthouse staff. We have
So we have a student resource officer in every school?
every school.
Wow.
Primary.
Was that the case before?
Yeah, it was the
Okay.
case before.
Okay.
The only school we didn't have one was the alternative school, which is Crossroads. But starting January now, starting on Monday.
And you just pulled from within and
Well, the schools ended up funding that fifth SRO position. So they paid for it when we already got the guy hired for it. So he's an incredible guy with teaching experience and got a master's degree. He's an incredible deputy. So he's going to do great things over there.
Excellent. All right. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but you were 36 road deputies. Tell me about the structure of the department as far as start with you.
So me, I'm the sheriff, and then right under me is a chief deputy. The chief deputy is responsible for all the day-to-day operations. Just make sure that all the functions of the sheriff's office, which is a lot. We have a lot of duties. The most visible is the road, but our most critical and the most to where we could be most liable is the jail. Right. So we have, jail operations that obviously go on 24 hours a day, 365. And then I have two captains under him. One on the law enforcement side, which is the road, the investigators, the schools. Then we have a judicial captain who's over the jail and the courthouse.
Okay. Any special ops teams?
We have one special operations, which is a traffic unit. It's ran by a sergeant and two deputies. They look for traffic enforcement and some interdiction stuff.
Is that separate from your normal patrol?
That's separate. Yeah, that's an
Is
additional.
that new?
No, there was some split shift deputies that did traffic before.
Okay.
So it was there. It's just we just kind of reallocated the positions and swapped them around.
And you're running 4 deputies now on each shift.
Yep. So when I took office, we had 3.
Yeah.
Now we have 4. So we were able to get an extra deputy per shift. Starting in July of 2025.
And where did the funds come from that?
From the general fund, from the Board of Commissioners. They added it to our budget.
Okay, nice, good deal. All right, so let me ask you this: what are you most proud of? This is your first year. We're kind of celebrating today, And if I had to say, what are you most proud of during your first year? What would you say?
Man, there's so many things. So I think getting this accreditation is a huge win for us. I'm very proud of that. We actually were able to get a mental health clinician to be able to come full time to the sheriff's office and get a huge grant from the state.
And you had to apply for that?
I met with them, and we're doing a pilot program. I had an idea to have a mental health clinician kind of go hand in hand with responding on the street to people who are in a crisis, and then also work with our inmates in the jail. There's nobody that does both jobs, and have one person do both jobs for, smaller communities. It was kind of lacking. So I went to Advantage Health and then spoke with the Department of Behavioral Health and Disabilities, DBHDD, and they liked the idea and they're funding it. So, we're the first of a kind. Miss Lisa, she started about 2 weeks ago.
So correct. So you said she's serving your deputies?
She's serving the citizens. So our deputies, almost every call they respond to has some type of mental health component, whether it's drugs, alcohol. They're just, having a bad day mentally, and they struggle, whether it's domestic or they're just diminished capacity.
Yeah.
So they can respond. She'll respond to them and hopefully get, and she would help them get services. So as opposed to coming always to the jail.
Oh, I understand. Okay. I got you. Very cool. That is a very unique situation. I didn't know that existed.
Oh, yeah. I mean, our jails have become de facto mental health wards.
Right.
And the jail's very expensive. It's about $90 a day per person.
Wow.
For us to house them.
Yeah. How many are in there right now?
Right now, it's about average daily population is around 70.
70. Okay. And that's right over here at your office.
Right over here on Monticello Road.
Nice. It's so interesting to dig around that stuff. All right. So you said you're proud of so much. There's been so much. So there's this long list. I'm going to look at this list. Yeah. Just so we can kind of run through some milestones here. So we have the mental health clinician. That's first at the top. We had the pay increase. That's pretty good. We have GOHS high visibility grant. What is that?
Yeah. So Governor's Office of Highway Safety. We applied and received a grant for them to help reimburse us for equipment, radars, lasers, so our traffic unit can get better equipped on some of the traffic enforcement tools that they need without burdening our citizens with it. Right.
Yeah.
So it kind of helps us save some money.
No, that's good stuff. The Sheriff's Foundation, we talked about that.
No, we didn't talk about the Sheriff's
We did.
Foundation. So that was a big accomplishment too. That
Okay.
let's
talk about that.
Started a Sheriff's Foundation, which is a 501c3 organization that's citizens led. There's a board of directors, and it allows people to donate their tax money, then get a dollar for dollar tax donation credit that they otherwise would have to pay the state of Georgia. They could keep those funds local. Right now, it's 100% has paid for our canine program that we actually started this year. So we went from 0 dogs to we have 2 dogs and a third one on the way. Wow. So the foundation is 100% paying for that, for the cages in the car, which are almost $9,000, for the cages at the house, the vet bills. So all of that, the foundation have helped supported that.
Canine units are expensive. Yeah. So maybe I was reading about that foundation, but we didn't talk about it yet.
That's right.
But that is something to be very proud of.
Yeah, it's a huge accomplishment. Yeah. It's a huge win for our citizens here. Yeah. We keep those funds local, and also it helps from the sheriff's office standpoint. We're not going to the commissioners to help support our canine program or other needs that would come up. The foundation can help fund that, so we keep the taxpayers' money in their pockets.
So whatever funds go there or tax, they're write-offs for people, and you get to use those as you see fit.
That's right.
Very good.
For equipment and other things.
Okay. All right. So community relations unit, what is that?
So I always felt that, community relations, our community relations, our community policing starts with our schools, starts with our youth. So I wanted to have an actual designated person to be in charge of helping the sheriff's office get more involved with our community. And that's speaking with HOAs, that's going to functions, that's doing all the things. And so I've tasked a Sergeant Newsom, and she's over our 5 school resource officers now, and also she's the sergeant over community relations. So, we go and we have spoken to retirement homes and talked to them about fraud. Churches, we've gone all over the place to speak on what's going on in the sheriff's office to kind of make sure that we're plugged in everywhere, so people know that we're there for them, and if they need us, that they should call us. We're there.
That's good. So Newsom is leading that charge. Okay, very interesting. That's good. She's a good lady.
She's in our private Facebook group for our community, so she knows what's going on all the time.
Yeah, so she's in there with the kids and understanding what's going on, and which is a big win for us. I want people to know that especially the kids, that they should call us. That we're there to help them.
No, that's good. Well, everybody doesn't see the sheriff's office like that. It's good that you're working on that. I tell you, someone else. Well, Gary Long down in Buzz County, he's really involved in the community. He does a lot of stuff too. And so that's cool.
You can give props for Gary. He donated us a canine dog to get us off the ground going. Yeah. So
yeah.
Butts County gave us our first dog.
That's funny. I worked for him for about 6 months when he first took office.
He's a great sheriff.
He is. He's a great sheriff.
And we didn't have a canine unit before you. No. That's just so interesting.
It is. I love canine. So are we just chasing drugs, or do you have a bite dog yet?
No, we don't. We have a drug dog, and then we have a bloodhound who is still kind of going through training. But she's out there. Her name's Danny. Named after Daniel Morgan. She's kind of a puppy. She's very young. But she actually got her first successful track this last week.
Nice.
Even still going, without even being fully trained. So within 5 minutes, her handler told me that within 5 minutes they found the guy hiding under a shed, that ran from a traffic stop. Yeah. So we have the bloodhound who's a tracker, and then our next purchased dog that the foundation will pay for would be an apprehension canine and tracking dog.
Okay. Yeah. So that's good stuff. So the K9 unit is cool. We need that too. Out here in this rural community, you need that. Okay, let's talk about the boat. I got to talk about the boat. So the boat. Talk about the boat. Where did the boat come from?
So, we have around 85 miles of shoreline, Lake Oconee. And, I'm not the guy to stand on the shore. Putnam County and Greene County both have had incidences of drownings this last year where they needed a boat to get out in the water to search for the drowned victims. And we couldn't help. And I'm not the guy to stand on the shore, especially if something happened in Morgan County and not be able to do it. So we worked with the Georgia Department of Natural Resources. We found a boat that they weren't using anymore. And then I used seized drug funds and bought the boat and lettered it up. And, we've been out several times this summer and patrolled in it. And I think we prevented an accident. I was on it, and a boat of a whole family was about to go through one of the hazards. And we flagged them down before they went through the hazard and stopped them and, showed them what the buoys meant, how the lake was marked. So, maybe prevented at least an accident there, but and taught them like some boater safety stuff. So that's what they're going to be out there doing moving forward. And it was an incredible purchase, and we're just thankful for the DNR to help us make it happen.
No, that's good. So do you need to expand that program next year or this year, or is it pretty good?
No, it's good. It's a great running boat. We have deputies that love to actually get out there on the water and be visible. So it's just another piece and another tool.
Yeah, good. That's good. That's good. All right, so let's talk about the evidence. So let's say you go and bust somebody. Tell the audience, what do you do with the drugs or the evidence? We'll call it any kind of evidence. Where does it go? What happens to that?
Okay. So in our office, they go from the deputies. They have to sign and log it into one of the lockers that we have. We have a new evidence technician, and she's been incredible work. We've done a 100% audit, make sure that every piece of evidence is there, where it's supposed to be. She's coming up with a whole new system. We bought bins. We've organized it. She's done an incredible job. But then it goes into one of our vaults. But if it's a drug, then it gets sent off to the Georgia Bureau of Investigations to be tested. And then, it goes through the court process. We actually have to hold that stuff.
Right. Oh, yeah. All right. So that you've done an audit of that. You've revamped that. That's good. Let's see. Created enhanced safety and security procedures in jail. So I'm sure you had to write some standard operating procedures, right, that were needed to be followed. Who helped you with that?
So the chief deputy helped me tremendous with that, and both of our captains.
Okay.
They deep dived into all of our policies, the ones that we had. And then we worked with other accredited agencies and kind of went through some of their policies, and then took out what we didn't need and then made it into our own.
Nice. Okay, here's a good one right here. Employee recognition program.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So this year, we want to make sure we recognize all of our deputies, the good work that they do. We started a initiative on Facebook called Frontline Friday.
That's really cool.
And a lot of people look forward to it. I get stopped all the time about, saying how they really look forward to it every Friday. And the kids, really looking forward to it. But Frontline Friday was started to show the work that our men and women do. That's why we don't show the faces of the people that were arrested. We don't put their name out there. It's all about the work of the men and women have to do out here on the front lines. So we highlight that. The deputies have really taken to that and have done a great job with that. A lot of them want to be on it. Yeah. They want their work to be shown, to the community. So we've done that, and this year we started a employees of the year, for the jail and for our law enforcement uniform side, and then a supervisor of the year. And we recognized them at our Christmas party, and now we have plaques in the office that will be there for forever and put their names on it,
Wow.
And so they've really taken to that, and
that is really good.
It's been win-win for the deputies in the office, and also it's about transparency too, so the community knows kind of like what's going on, and the things that have happened here.
Yeah. No, that's great. So that's leadership 101. Again, it's about the people. And when I'm as I'm sitting here listening to you speak to me about you consistently go back and talk about your people. And so that's wonderful. All right. Earlier, let's see. Okay, let's look at some crime stats. Okay. So for the audience to know, looks like we had 100, and I'm looking at this. This is fresh off the press. 122 year to date in 2024. So the year before sheriff took office, there was 122 crimes. Now, I'm not going to sit here and name all these, but
Yeah, those are they're called Part 1 crimes. That's what's reported, to the FBI and the Part 1 crimes: murder, rape, robberies,
Right.
Arsons, vehicle thefts, larcenies, those type of issues.
Yeah, not speeding tickets, not citations. We're talking about crime, right? There was 122 in 24. And so the same thing in 25, which is the year that our sheriff took office, there was 71. That is a huge deal.
Yeah, it's a like 41% reduction in overall crime, which is incredible numbers. It kind of blows me away that we were able to get all the things that we had done accomplished, as well as reduce crime by over 40%. It's an incredible task, our feat, incredible accomplishment for our people and our deputies, and it's proof that their work, matters.
Oh yeah. No, well, so it's one thing to consider. And we're talking, Maddie, we live in Morgan County,
Mm-hmm.
right? But to know that our kids are safer today because of the work that Sheriff Hooks and his staff have done is a huge. I mean, we owe you a huge debt of gratitude, and you can't say it enough.
Mm-mm.
From 120 Part 1 crimes or 120 whatever to 41% decrease is huge. And the fact is you're not even done yet.
No, we're just getting started, and
It's just crazy to think that at the first half of this podcast, we've talked about everything that you've done, and it hasn't been anything about the crime. You know what I'm saying?
All about people,
right.
That's
And so I don't know.
you're gonna put tears in my eyes, maybe. That's what I'm saying. He's not said anything about crime
Right.
until I
Yeah.
read it.
It's crazy.
He's not your normal sheriff.
Mm-mm.
All right. Let's go through a few more things, and then I want to
Yeah,
talk
go
about
ahead.
this year. All
Okay.
right. So let's see here. And by the way, for the audience, I'm literally picking this apart. So anything y'all want me to say,
Real
just put it in the chat.
Nope.
But no, I'm just
It's your life.
all right. So let's talk about the body cameras. Have you updated those?
Yeah, we updated body cameras and in-car cameras. So they're all, synced together, and essentially all of our in-car cameras are now license plate readers. And so if a stolen car comes by or somebody that has a warrant drives by, our deputies the cameras will pick it up and it'll notify them.
Wow.
So that's just more crime deterrence, more proactiveness that our deputies are able to do and utilize. And then our body cameras, it's much better quality. And, they're supposed to be to where we can live stream them. So if something were to happen, then I can click on there and watch it live. They haven't, that function isn't quite working. We just kind of got them implemented. So Motorola is working on that, but it's an incredible piece of equipment.
You can live stream to the chest of your
to the
deputies.
chest and
Really?
actively watch them as it's
And
happening.
then you can speak to him in your
Wow.
ear.
Well, I could call them on the phone. I guess, but you don't want to
Interfere
mess
too
with
much.
them.
Yeah.
They're trying to
Like, man, that was
make
original.
split
What did I do?
decisions. No, but it's it's a lot. There's a lot of areas that our communications don't work. Our radios don't work. It's another project that we're actively working on. So if dispatch asks if a deputy is okay and they're not responding, it's either they're hurt, they've been assaulted, maybe they had a medical emergency, or maybe their radio just doesn't work. But the supervisors can log onto their body cameras, see if what's actually occurring, and then they could determine their response.
Wow,
from
that's
there.
interesting. So I was actually at the meeting where we talked. Like, you were with Fire. Well, where they were talking about the new radios to the commissioners. But so the body cams will work when the radios won't?
Yes.
Wow. That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. That's great. Well, so nobody ever thinks about our public service and their safety, but the reality is you guys go in this county, you go uncovered all the time, right?
Yeah, they're those deputies. They're out there working. There are backups a long way away.
Yeah,
If there's 4 of them, and one's on, if you get a domestic, so to speak, that's 2 deputies right there, over in Rutledge, and then something else happens in Buckhead. It's a long way.
Yeah,
yeah.
It'll be a while before you get there.
Yeah,
and then everybody complains, but it costs a lot of money. Well, it's no doubt that you're being a good steward of the money.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this. The Tahoes. Let's see. You got 4 new additional Tahoes. Is that the new guys that we hired, or the new deputies that we hired?
So no. We actually didn't ask for Tahoes for those positions. We just used old Tahoes for that. We figured we just slowly integrate them, new Tahoes in. Those were going to be purchased either way. Previously, they were blue Tahoes, and the blue specialty color was more expensive. So I went with black. Black generic color. You don't change the color black. Blues can be navy one day. It may be some other shade of blue tomorrow. It's just, they're cheaper. So over long run, eventually we would save so much money it'd pay for itself. But we got 4 new Tahoes that are now black, that all of our vehicles will eventually go to that color to save us some more money. But at the end of last fiscal year, we ended up giving back over $130,000 back to the commissioners. Wow. And I was always told, you have to use that money or they won't give it to you next year. And I went and spoke with the commissioners and told them, look, we're going to be good stewards of money. We'll give you back as much as we're able to, but just don't
cut us.
Don't cut us out. Well, that in and of itself is a special thing.
Yeah, we're finding ways, whether it's finding grants to help fund things, getting this foundation off the ground. Some of our interdiction guys have made some seizures on the interstate, and we have an asset forfeiture program that we were able to buy equipment out of, as opposed to using our general fund. So anytime that we can save the taxpayers money and kind of give it back into the coffers to maybe use next year, we're going to.
Amen. Golly, that's good stuff. Okay, my favorite thing, a new weapon. You got new pistols. Talk about that, because that's a big deal. Now, some people might hear, oh, well, he bought new guns for his guys. Well, number one, that's really good for morale. Okay. Yeah. But number 2, talk about why that's important, because it does matter.
Yeah. So we actually had a lot of guns in the evidence vault that were seized from a long time ago. So we actually ended up selling those to the gun vendor. So it offset these costs big time for us to be able to purchase these new firearms. But all of our Glocks now have Holosun red dots on them. So every police officer in this country, and especially ones in Morgan County, we're accountable for every bullet that comes out of it. Where's its final destination going to be? So if you pull that trigger, you have to be able to hit your target, and not hit an innocent bystander or, damage property somewhere else. So it increases the scores of these firearms. It increased mine the first time I ever shot this gun. I shot a 95, and I ain't never shot that 95. I think I'm pretty decent shot, and I was high 80s, very low 90s consistently. But I'm gonna practice. I'm gonna get that 100.
Yeah, keep practicing.
But it drastically improved our overall scores. They're hitting the target better, which is what you want, because we are accountable for every bullet that comes out of that gun.
What's the minimum score in the state of Georgia?
80.
80. That's why
you gotta get an 80.
Yeah, you gotta get an 80. Very good. So we went to a Glock 45 with the optics. That's good. Oh, okay. So talk about the new uniform. By the way, that thing looks sharp.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thanks. Yeah.
Other than I used to call the DNR Mr. Green Pants. Now I got to call you.
Green Pants.
A lot of we get some of that around here. DNR, but these are actually more traditional sheriff colors. So we had gray tops and black pants, and it's one of the things the deputies wanted to change uniforms. The ones that are on the street, polyester is not friendly to the environment. It's not friendly to pavement. It's not friendly to the deputies. It's not comfortable to wear. You run in it, you run through the woods, the pants are destroyed. So there's a new material and that we work with Blower, and it's called ripstop material, and essentially it's water resistant. Polyester you just soak to your bones in directing traffic in the rain, but the water just sheds right off. And you run through the woods, which I've had to do since I've been here chasing a guy, and it didn't ruin the pants. So we'll be able to save money in the long run by not replacing them so much. But they didn't make the colors of that material in the uniforms that we had, so we had to pick, and we put the colors out there for our deputies to kind of get a vibe of what they wanted, and this is what they wanted to go to. They wanted to go to the OD green pants, which Putnam County and Oconee County and Greene County and Butts County and Wilkes County and Crisp and Turner. There's a lot of sheriff's office around this state, and especially around us, that had tan and green.
No, I love it. I love that uniform. That's what
sharp.
Gary Long brought in when he took over Butts County years ago. That's what he came in and did, and changed the badge too. Man, everything you've done with the office looks good.
Thanks.
Okay, and so I'm proud of you. Is there anything I left off of that list that you just want to highlight?
Man, I don't know. I don't think there's anything specific on that list. We have some goals that we want to accomplish in 26.
We'll get there in a minute.
And it was a lot to accomplish all that in 2025, and I don't even think you read off everything.
No, I didn't. I was breezing through it, just looking at the highlights.
No, it wouldn't change a thing.
Good. All right. So, Maddie, when he was just talking, did you hear him say that he was chasing the dude through the woods?
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of leader? The sheriff's out there running through the woods.
What do we say? In the trenches?
In the trenches. That's exactly what we talk about. Yep. And so when we talk about his leadership ability, it's evident based on what he sits there and talks about, and also what he does. And that's real. I've seen him running calls. Okay. I've heard him running calls. And so anyway.
Look, I saw you out of the elementary school when the traffic started, just trying to figure out how we're all going to.
Yeah.
And that right there has been like a.
That might be the biggest accomplishment, is not getting complaints from the school traffic.
100%.
From the first week of school.
Golly, the first week of school was perfect.
It went great.
It went great.
Yeah, that's very good. All right, so let's talk about some leadership stuff. So everybody that was just, in ooh and ah about all that, that's great. We're going to talk about 26 in just a minute. But before we do, let's talk about accountability in your office. Okay, what does accountability look like? Have you had to hold anybody accountable? And I know you don't want to name names or stories, but maybe you can tell a story where you've had to hold someone accountable for something to kind of set some expectations. Because look, as you have raised the bar, I'm sure there were some people that needed to be held accountable at anytime you raise the bar. And it may be one of those things where you're like, I can't talk about that. But just basically talk about where you've had to have accountability in the department.
Yeah, we've, it's part of every profession and every administration, but we've definitely had to hold people accountable and to let go some really good people from a variety of different things, but they know, like, we have that standard and we're not going to lower it from nobody, not who you are or who your parents are or how long you've been working here. It doesn't matter. So, we've had to hold people accountable. We had some detention deputies go out in the public and drink alcohol in their uniforms to, we've had a number of things that we've had to deal with, but we've dealt with them, and it's what you should do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it shows the deputies that are there, hey, I just need to do the right thing.
Right.
So, and they do. And, we have some great men and women that work for me. They try really, really hard. And obviously you've given them the policy and procedure, which is why we became accredited. We revamped all that stuff so we can show them the roadmap. And, and we do hold them accountable when we have to. It's just part of the job. You have to do it.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, they're wearing the badge. They're a representative of your office.
Yeah.
And so it's huge. I tell everybody, it's hard to hide in a small town.
Yeah.
And leaders certainly can't hide in a small town.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, we have to get it right when we make decisions. We have to get it right every time. We're probably the only profession in this country where one person does something in Minnesota and the entire country's on fire, right? And everybody hates and demonizes the police because of one guy.
Yeah.
So our people have to get it right, and we strive for that. You try to lead them in a way that they go down that path. But it's just unfortunate part of our business that that eye is on us. So I would say we might have done it professionally to ourselves. We're very good at protection. We're very good at protecting people and stopping criminals and arresting them. We just let go of the service part, to protect and serve. As a profession, we were like, that goes back from the 90s, the early 2000s. We got really good at protecting people, and it may have cost us some legitimacy in the end, but we're getting it back, and that's why we just you got to hold them accountable when you have to.
Yeah, no, that's good. So, and that was you just said that, and you're right, to serve and protect. And usually, back in the day, the serve came first. Serve and protect. You've seen that all over everybody, and on the cars and uniforms and so forth. But yeah, that's a big part of what you do.
Yeah,
is serve the community, and that is certainly something that you push. Okay, so what would you have? Okay, let's do this first. All right, so let's talk about 26. What is your plans now? So you've got all these accomplishments, you've made all these changes, and you've got everything rolling in your direction, and you're building some momentum, and things are changing, and things are better. What are you doing now?
Man, so we want some change with things in our jail. Give them some other avenues and things that they can learn from. We want to start a dog adoption program to where we foster dogs. Animal control's overcrowded with animals. The Humane Society is overrun with dogs. So we have people that essentially live at the jail, 24 hours a day. And so if we can take a dog or two, put them with some inmates that are in there for low-level offenses that got to do time, get them another skill, and then we can train the dogs, how to be household pets, and then adopt them out of the jail. It's just something that we're going to do, and we want to start a gardening program for our females to give them that skill on how to garden and eat healthier. So those are just some of the small things that I think we're going to do in the jail, but we're going to continue to build on our momentum on the street, and we want to enhance our interdiction efforts to get more drugs off the street. I got add that extra canine. They're all going to training in the spring, and just big plans.
Yeah, no, that's good. So, but we've got new uniforms, new cars coming. Well, I'm sure there's be cars coming every other year, 2 or 3. But basically, continue what you're doing and delivering to the citizens of Morgan County. I know that's what it's in your heart, and I know that you built a team to do that. Let's just say that in 30 years or 40 years, when you hang it up, when you retire, when you put somebody else in your position, what kind of department do you want to leave behind?
I just want them to people to know that we did it the right way. That the community knows that, hey, they were there for us, and we had to hold folks accountable when we had to, but we did it the right way.
Right.
And that's essentially all I could really ask for. And for my employees to grow. You're right. So you got to train your replacement. And so that's what we'll be doing. And hopefully I can say, hey, we trained some really great folks that are now leading this thing into the future.
Right. No, that's great. That's great. So I've never thought about that. So you train up a guy and he wants to grow, and then he may go to another county to be a sheriff. You have to deal with that. And then you got to train another guy, but you constantly need to be training.
You constantly invest in your people.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. And I I tell them all, hey, this is your career, this isn't mine.
Yeah.
So if it's on your heart to take some type of training, you may be on the street today, but you want to be in investigations in the future. Well, send them to the investigative classes now, because that's only going to make them a better cop on the street.
Yeah.
So it's their profession. It's not mine. It's their career, and we're going to get them there. So whether they want to go to a state level agency, or if they want to go to the feds, or if they want to be sheriff in another county, we'll do what we got to do to get them those get them there.
Wow, that's awesome. So that's a leader. That's another leader, one that wants to see his people grow and encourages growth, and not only that, but walks alongside them and continues to grow people. So I can't say enough about that. All right, so let's see. What about 5 years from now? What's your vision for 5 years?
Man, just keep going down this track. I think in 5 years, as long as the community can continue to stay behind us, we're doing it right. So almost everywhere I go, people come up and thanking us and saying, hey, you guys are doing amazing work, the sheriff's office. And so in 5 years, I hope that just keeps happening, because that means we're doing it the right way.
Yeah. Well, you've got another election cycle, right? Every 4 years. And so, but as good a job as you're doing, I don't see you having to fight for it. So,
well, you always got to, kind of go after it, and I tell folks, you got to hold me accountable.
Yeah.
So the citizens should hold me accountable.
Yeah.
Right. So for what we're doing. So in 4 years, we'll see how we're doing, but I'm going to continue to do the right way. I'm going to encourage our staff. Obviously, they're going to continue to do it the right way, and we'll grow them, and it'll just, chips will fall where they fall to that aspect. But I don't know if fight's the right word, but we definitely we'll make our case, to the citizens, to say that we're doing it right.
Yeah. No, I thought there's no doubt about that. Maddie, do you have any questions for Sheriff?
No, I'm just over here taking a bunch of notes on these really good quotes, and then I just realized, you know what? It's just the whole thing, honestly. I think
whole thing. Just read the whole thing.
I know. I'm like, I don't. Yeah. One thing, the dog program, I've seen that like in other counties doing it. I think Gwinnett County does it, which is where I'm originally from. But I think it's really cool that you guys are, tag teaming with other entities in our county that are struggling, and seeing where y'all can help them.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, yeah.
it's really cool to think about it, where, you think of the sheriff's department, you're just police officers on the street, you don't think about how the relationships that you have within the communities with other entities also means a lot.
Yeah, we work with all of them, and so we're going to continue to help everywhere we can.
Yeah, serve and protect, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people think about police officers and sheriff's deputies as, they're just lawmen. And that they are, but they're also servants of the community at different levels. And is the reserve program still active?
Yeah, we have an incredible reserve.
Talk about that, because she may not know about that at all.
Okay. So, we have an incredible reserve program where we have certified reserve deputies, where they have the same authorities as normal deputies on the street. They get paid. They actually volunteer their time. They'll come out and help out, and they're gun toters, and they have the same arrest powers. But we kind of rebranded our volunteers, and now we have a sheriff's posse. So that's just a group of volunteers. They kind of help block roads for parades. They help in a variety of different things. But what I really wanted to do is create this posse where if we had a natural disaster, or if a kid went missing, or some elderly person was wandered away, that we had a list of volunteers within our different cities, whether it's Bostwick or Rutledge, or over down in Godfrey, or over in Buckhead, or in Madison, that we could call and we could get a search party pretty quickly. So, if you want to come on and look at our sheriff's posse, we have a lot of people that have volunteered their time. We have a mobile response trailer now that the sheriff's posse kind of took the task on themselves. We paid for it through asset forfeiture, but it has a ham radio in it, so we have communications. We have a big TV, and it has its own Wi-Fi through Starlink. So it's a pretty incredible little disaster trailer that now we can
command center.
little mobile, and we can drive it out to wherever we need. So if we do have a tornado or something, we could have volunteers pass out water or, provide someone that safety, know that we're there. So
It's good to be preventative too, because you hate to think about a child going missing or something like that, and not being well equipped.
Yeah.
In something like that.
Yeah. So we want to make sure that we're prepared on the front end. We're looking down this road, not just what's in front of us.
Yeah.
So.
That's very good.
Yeah.
It's a proactive sheriff.
Right.
Right. So he's wanting to be prepared for anything that may be called upon him to do. And I mean, it's a wonderful thing. What else you got? That's it?
Yeah. I mean, I just think it's crazy the walk that we've had with this podcast, and every great leader that we sit with basically says the same thing. And it's your people, invest in your people and take care of your people. I think that's huge.
He echoed that a lot.
Yeah, I know.
I would love to work for Hooks. I would. I really would love to work for you. And I'm threatening to do it one day.
Well, you're more than welcome to apply. We'll see if you cut them off.
I can score an 80. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
One day, one of these days, I'm going to come work for you. I really am.
I always give it back to them because it is them. I couldn't do it without them. Nothing could get done without them. And that's what any industry is, your employees. So you don't take care of them, they go somewhere else, and then you're left with nothing.
That's right.
So you got to take care of your people, and you should promote them and invest in them.
Well, Sheriff, I'm so grateful for you taking the time to share what you do, not only what, but how and why that you lead the way you do. It is commendable. I'm proud to call you my sheriff and my friend. And you never heard anything about authority with him at all. It's all about responsibility and influence and his people. And so it's about showing up, listening, holding people accountable. That's natural, comes with it, but serving with consistency, even when nobody's looking. We talk about integrity.
Yeah.
And I know that you have integrity.
Oh yeah. That's what, you have to do the right thing when nobody's
Yeah. You said it 100 times.
Yeah.
Do the right thing, do the right thing, do the right thing. And so
no matter what.
For our listeners, whether you wear a badge or you run a business, or you coach a team, you're a mom or dad, or just a leadership in general, this conversation is real, and real leadership that lasts and builds a legacy, which is what we talk about on the show. Sheriff, do you got anything else you want to say before we sign off?
I just appreciate you having me, and to be able to get some of our accomplishments and our facts out from this first year. It was a long road, and I just appreciate you all having me today and be able to speak on it. I'd be more than happy to come back and speak about the next time.
Yeah.
We'll do
an
annual sheriff.
And annual update on what's going on. I don't think we'd be able to get 40% reduction from there, but I can assure you that's a hard.
We want to see a 0.
Yeah. So, but we will definitely give it our best effort. So.
Yeah, that's great.
How where are we at on time, Maddie?
We're at 1 hour and 5.
Oh wow! We went over an hour.
It's okay.
Very good.
We're good.
So anyway, to everybody listening, thank y'all for being a part of the journey with us at Impact, but also just listening to our sheriff. He really means a lot to our community. We are so grateful for him. If I could speak on behalf of our community, we are grateful for you, sir, and honored to have you on our show. So until next time, lead well, serve everybody around you, and grow. That's what I heard today. So thank you so much, Chef.
Thank you.